Alrighty, boys and girls, friends, neighbors, loved ones, relatives, anybody. What we're working on today isn't a hydraulic issue. So we have a forklift attached to what used to be a loader. Just happens to be a Kubota with a cascade set of squeeze attachment. So what this does is squeezes things and picks it up. So we had an oil leak up here. And the oil leak, I sourced it to this issue right here. You can see that. That is a JIC fitting. This happens to be a -6. This is called a bulkhead fitting. And it's where we have two different hoses meeting together on a bracket. Hence the bulkhead fitting. So that was damaged. You can see that there. And in turn, when that was put together, it ended up damaging the hose. You can see down inside there some marks there on the face. This 37-degree JIC. So that has a bit of damage. So I thought, you know what? I'm not going to put a new bulkhead fitting in there with an old hose and take the risk of damaging it. So what I did was I chopped the end off of the hose. Luckily we still had enough slack in here that I could shorten the hose, and I was able to crimp a new end on. And what that looks like is this machine over here. This is a Parker hose crimper, and these are the ends here. And I didn't want to I should have videoed it, but unfortunately, I only had one hose to make, so maybe next time I'll do a video on how to make a hose. But basically, this goes in here like that. No, sorry, the other way around. Yeah, no, that's the right way. The hose would go up through the bottom. See, that's all the way through. And then you would crimp it. So that's with an inner pack here runs this, and it gives you the hydraulic pressure. Each size. So this is for a -4. Buried here in the part number, there it is, 04. So it's a 0406. Well, it's kind of cool now. They put the whole part number on there. They never used to. So it's an FJX-04, which is the hose, and -06, which is this end. And in hydraulics, those dashes are 1/16 of an inch. So that's 4/16, which means a 1/4 inch. That's 3/16, sorry, 6/16, 4/16, 6/16, which means 3/8. So that's how you tell with that. And they come in a variety of different types and styles and different sizes, and what we call jump sizes, where you get a bigger size. That's an OFS. That's for O-rings. That's an adapt. This, you know, so this is different sizes. What does this one say? It's a little dirty, spin around. So that, I believe, see, the whole part number's not there because that's a 6/8. So that's a 6 hose with an 8 end. So that's a jump size. It's not straight through. So anyway, that's back over to the forklift. That's what we're working on today. I'll get this put back together, and we'll do a test on it, pressure it up, and see if it's leaking. You got to have a variety of wrenches when working on hydraulics. You need 11/16, 7/8. There's common ones. A good wrench to have is a combination open end 13/16, 7/8 wrench. I don't have one here, but I do have one, and that's nice for doing -8 stuff because you can flip it around, and it, you know, because sometimes you'll need 2 wrenches to tighten up one hose. What you don't want to do is twist the hose. So when you tighten the hose, you tighten this fitting here, you hold on to this with another wrench, and that keeps the hose nice and square and laying properly, because if you put twist in a hose, it shortens the life immensely. So that's what you want to avoid. Let me see if I can get that finished, and I'll show you what that looks like. That's why you got to check your work all the time and check anybody else's work. got a leak there, which is not something that we were even working on. So I got to see, you can see that fitting's pretty chewed up. We got to see if we can get that to seal up. I can't even pressurize it enough to check my work because that's, I mean, look at the leak. That's something that we found. There you go. That just knocked itself loose. How do you like that? So how tight is tight? Well, tight is more tighter than that. And mostly in hydraulics, you're pretty tight. Oh, there. That bulkhead fitting's loose. This was all transferred off of another truck. I don't think the transfer went as well as everybody expected it to. So yeah, let me get that tightened up. I can't do it with one hand, so I'm gonna have to stop the video, but there, that just gives you an idea, right? See, that bulkhead's still loose. So we'll try and get that tightened up. Stand by. Alrighty, so we got the leaks all fixed. Checked it all. Put everything over relief, nice and dry. That's the new bulkhead fittings, one new hose end. Put all that back. The hose seems to have the right amount of tension on. It's not too bad. I did notice that the bracket's bent. We'll probably get after that later on. Just got to get this thing back and functioning. Fixed up that loose fitting down there on that bulkhead. And this hose right here was loose. That's all good now, not leaking anymore. And last but not least, we got to make sure to get all our tools back. And very important, you check the oil level. If we don't check the oil level and we send it back out, that's going to be an issue. So on these particular units, that's the oil gauge right there. I'm going to pull that out because sometimes dirt accumulates in them and they're really hard to tell if you're at the right level or not. That's where you fill it up. This particular unit uses 10W30 motor oil for hydraulics. How's that for different? So we'll get onto that and see what we can do. There we go, boys and girls, ladies, gentlemen, friends, loved ones, neighbors, relatives. Check the oil level when you're all done. This thing really needs a pressure wash, but it's too cold out. Get all that equipment out, make a big icy mess. So we'll forego that for today. I did run through everything. There was no oil leaks. We checked the oil level in the engine. It's right up to where it should be. Very, very important. This one happens to burn oil. She's getting long in the tooth. So we got to keep an eye on it. Coolant level, obviously that's full because it's leaking out as you pull out that. So that's good. So that's at a good level. So we do have coolant. Check the oil. No visible oil leaks. So I think we're good to go there. It's kind of a courtesy that you check your levels before you release the vehicle back to service or back to your customer. Now, these Kubota engines are a little bit rattly. I don't know, this is the one we just did an oil pump on. Water pump, sorry. Yeah, this one we did a new rad on because it had a catastrophic failure and split the rad tank open. So we're just keeping an eye on things. Okay, so that's it. I'm going to close the video and say, remember, make sure your fittings are tight.